The life of Billy the Kid is a story of tragedy, hardship, and rebellion. As a teenager, Billy became a notorious outlaw in the American Southwest, famous for his crossings and prison and daring gunfights. In this article, we'll take a closer look at Billy the Kid's life, exploring his early years, his criminal exploits, and his eventual death. Henry McCarty, also known as William Henry Bonney or Billy the Kid, was born on November 23, 1859, most likely in New York City. While his biological father remains a mystery, some biological researchers have theorized that his father's name was Patrick McCarty. The father's name is ambiguous, but there is clear evidence that the biological mother's name is Catherine McCarty. Historical documents say Billy and his family moved to Indiana in the late 1860s before settling in Wichita, Kansas in 1870. Unfortunately, Billy's father passed away at the end of the Civil War. Remember to hit the like button, because it helps us a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to not miss the upcoming interesting video. On March 1, 1873, Catherine McCarty married a man named William Antrim, and the family moved to Silver City, New Mexico. Billy's stepfather worked as a bartender and carpenter. He is often drunk and does not care about his family. Faced with financial difficulties, McCarty's mother took on boarders to provide for her sons. Despite her efforts, Billy's mother's health continued to deteriorate, and she eventually died of tuberculosis on September 16, 1874. This greatly influenced Billy's brutal character after that. After the death of Billy's mother, his stepfather placed Billy and his younger brother Joseph in separate foster homes and left the Silver City for Arizona. At the age of 14, Billy was described as having chubby cheeks and blue eyes, and he was forced to find work in a hotel. At work, he is hardworking and energetic, impressing the manager with his friendly attitude. The teachers at the school consider him no different from other boys, always willing to help him. However, trouble soon found Billy when he was arrested on September 23, 1875 for hiding a bundle of stolen clothes. After being sent to prison, Billy escapes by climbing the prison chimney, becoming a fugitive. He found work as an itinerant shepherd on a ranch in southeastern Arizona before becoming a civilian comrade at Camp Garretts Army Station in 1877. Here, he was tasked with transporting timber from the log camp to the sawmill. Unfortunately, Billy's time at Camp Garretts was marked by tragedy. Frank Windy Cahill, the civilian blacksmith in the camp, bullied him, and on August 17, 1877, attacked him after an argument. On reflex, Billy retaliated by pulling out his gun and shooting Cahill, who died the next day. Billy was again detained, but before the sheriff arrived, he escaped. This time, he escaped to High School Jones' home in Pecos Valley, New Mexico. But the Apaches stole his horse, forcing him to walk for miles to the nearest settlement. Mrs. Jones took care of the young man until he recovered. The Jones family became very attached to Billy and even gave him one of their horses. War in Lincoln County. Now that Billy is an outlaw and can't find honest work, Kid meets another bandit named Jesse Evans, the leader of a band of robbers called the Boys. Kid has nowhere else to go, and being alone in hostile and lawless territory, Kid reluctantly joins the gang. After joining a band of robbers led by Jesse Evans, Billy the Kid became involved in the Lincoln County War, in which his friend and employer John Tunstall was murdered. Vowing to avenge Tunstall's death, Billy joins the administration and kills the deputy who killed his friend, as well as the county sheriff and another deputy. Fearing for his life, Billy went into hiding and began stealing cattle from ranchers and Apaches in the Mescalero Reserve. In the fall of 1878, Lew Wallace, a retired Confederate general, became governor of the newly created territory of New Mexico. Seeking to restore peace to Lincoln County, Wallace announced an amnesty for anyone who participated in the Lincoln County War without prosecution. Billy faces multiple charges, but Wallace is intrigued by rumors that Billy is willing to surrender and testify against other fighters if pardoned. In March 1879, Wallace and Billy met to discuss a possible agreement. Although initially greeted the governor with a pistol in one hand and a Winchester rifle in the other. After much thought, Billy finally agreed to testify in exchange for a pardon. As part of the settlement, McCarty was supposed to be jailed until testifying in court, but the district attorney defied Wallace's orders and kept him in jail. Anticipating this, Billy escaped thanks to his escape skills. He spent the next year hanging out at Fort Sumner on the Pecos River and struck up a fateful friendship with a local bartender named Pat Garrett. Garrett was later elected sheriff of Lincoln County and charged with the arrest of his close friend Billy the Kid. During this time, Billy formed a gang called the Rustlers or Billy the Kid's Gang and continued to steal and carry out many crimes. The core members of the gang are Tom O'Folliard, Charlie Beaudre, Tom Pickett, Billy the Kid, Dirty Dave Rudabaugh, and Billy Wilson. In the fall of 1880, despite continuing to operate as an outlaw, Billy was still trying to convince the governor to pardon him. His notoriety with the newspapers continued to grow, and he became known as Billy the Kid, New Mexico's most notorious outlaw. However, on November 30, 1880, things took a turn for the worse when Billy and his gang clashed with Deputy Sheriff James Redman in White Oaks, New Mexico. Redman shot one of the gang members, and they were forced to flee the town. On December 15, 1880, Governor Wallace offered a $500 reward for Billy's head, and Pat Garrett set out to capture him. Despite setting traps and ambushes, Garrett is still unable to capture Billy, who seems to have animal instincts that warn him of impending danger. After an exhausting journey, Billy the Kid and his gang reached Fort Sumner, New Mexico on December 19, 1880. Followed by Pat Garrett and his team, the outlaws must face Garrett's Army hiding in an old building behind the hospital. When Garrett ordered them to stop, several members of the possession team opened fire on Tom Pickett and Tom O'Folliard, killing the latter while the former escaped. Dave Rudabaugh's horse was also hit, but he and his men escaped and took refuge in an abandoned log cabin near Stinking Springs, New Mexico. Garrett's army is determined to track down the outlaws and lay siege to their hideout. The siege lasted until the next day when Rudabaugh finally surrendered. Billy the Kid and his gang were arrested on December 23, 1880, and he was sent to various prisons, including Las Vegas, Santa Fe and Mesilla, for trial in April. The trial lasted only one day and Billy was found guilty of murdering Sheriff William Brady, after which he was sentenced to hang by Judge Warren Bristol on May 13. Billy was sent to Lincoln to await execution, where he was guarded by James Bell and Robert Ollinger on the top floor of the building formerly known as the Lincoln County Warhouse. On April 28, Billy miraculously escaped and killed both of his guards when Garrett was out of town. The circumstances surrounding his escape are still being debated, but it is believed that a friend or confidant of the governing body left a pistol in his cell. Using that, he quickly killed the guards. Ollinger fled the hotel as soon as he heard gunfire. As he reached the courthouse window, he heard Billy greet him, "Hi, Bob." Ollinger looked up and saw Billy holding a shotgun in his hand. The last thing Ollinger saw was the shotgun fired at him when Billy shot him, killing him instantly. This is Billy's final escape. On July 14, 1881, Pat Garrett was interrogating Billy's friend, Peter Maxwell, in a dimly lit room in Old Fort Sumner. Then suddenly Billy kicked the main door, burst into the room. Garrett can't figure out who that is. And on reflex, Garrett turned the gun and 2 explosions were heard. The first bullet hit Billy in the heart, ending his sinful life. He was buried that day in Fort Sumner's cemetery, along with his deceased friends Tom O'Folliard and Charlie Beaudre. Billy the Kid is said to have killed 21 men in his short life, an average of 1 per year. However, most historians estimate his number of victims to be close to 9, 4 of whom he killed himself and 5 with the help of others. In 2010, more than 100 years later, New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson considered pardoning the kid. The pardon was promised by then-Governor Lew Wallace in 1879, but Richardson ultimately decided to decline it due to the historical ambiguity surrounding the pardon. The life of Billy the Kid remains one of the most compelling stories of the Old West. Billy the Kid was a special individual and intrigues us to this day. His legacy lives on, inspiring countless books, films, and legends of the Wild West. Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below, so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.